Saluting our troops, that is the topic of tonight's byline. Is a day of honor enough? Probably not. How much is enough? That's a hard question to answer, but let me start by telling you it's amazing to see the change in attitude towards the Canadian Armed Forces over the last 20 years. For a start, we honor them. 20 years ago, we paid lip service to our peacekeepers, and we didn't commemorate the soldiers coming back from the first Gulf War in the early 90s, not in any significant way. Back then, it was as if official Canada was ashamed of our military, embarrassed by them. I remember reservists being told they couldn't wear their uniforms to report for duty. They were told, you wear civilian clothes in public and then change when you get to work. I don't know if that happened in the regular force, but I have heard plenty of horror stories of the decade of darkness that many call the 1990s. Now, well, they had a parade in Ottawa today on a day other than Remembrance Day. The entire area in front of Centre Block on Parliament Hill was transformed today into a display of proud military pageantry not often seen in Canada. It's not just government either. The private sector stepped up as well. And this morning, True Patriot Love, a private sector group that has raised millions to support vets, they held a breakfast here in town to honor the fallen, their families, to raise more money for veteran rehabilitation, job training, and transition. In the lead up to this event, Canadians from all walks of life expressed their gratitude, including sports stars, past and present.
We, the Maple Leafs, salute the brave men and women of the Canadian Armed Forces, extraordinary Canadians who chose to place themselves in harm's way. Thank you and welcome home.
Thank you for your dedication and commitment in the war in Afghanistan, especially you and your families. Your commitment and dedication has made our country proud.
On behalf of the Edmonton Oilers players and the staff, we just want to say thank you to the troops who show great commitment and dedication to our country.
These sorts of things didn't happen during the 90s. The soldiers that went to Bosnia and Kosovo, the ones that witnessed some truly horrific stuff, well, they never experienced this kind of appreciation or outpouring of support from the government or private sector. There was no Canadian pride expressed about our troops. Back then, it was all about the Blue Beret and supporting the United Nations. And isn't the United Nations a great organization? And funny enough, in return, they talked about how great they were. Our soldiers, though, they were mostly forgotten, sometimes ridiculed. I remember during my cadet and reserve days going to the armories and being yelled at, insulted for wearing the uniform. That doesn't happen now. Still, is any of this enough? I'll say again, it's a tough call. But I do know that it's appreciated, the kind words, the coffees paid for, the thank you for your service expressed with a smile. Everyday Canadians are showing support for our troops, the likes of which we haven't seen in years. This afternoon, though, it was official Ottawa's turn. Giant Canadian flags adorned the buildings facing Parliament Hill. A helicopter and armored vehicles were parked on the front lawn of Parliament Hill. And as the parade of 300 soldiers, plus the bands, the civilians, the police marching with them arrived on the hill, they were greeted by members of all parties. The Governor General was there, and of course the Prime Minister and several cabinet ministers, but also in a very classy move, defense ministers going back years, including Conservative Gordon O'Connor, Liberals Bill Graham and David Pratt. They were there. Former Prime Minister Paul Martin and former Governor General Michaël Jean were there to honor the troops and support the family members of the fallen. Is any of this enough for those people? Well, it won't bring back their loved ones. It won't bring them back, but knowing that their service, that their sacrifice is honored is worth something. It's an acknowledgement of a grateful country. During tonight's show, we'll bring you portions of the ceremony and stories of service, of sacrifice, of honor and remembrance. My words are not nearly enough to pay homage to those that serve, but they are all that I have that enable me to say thank you. And that's the byline.